Hi, I've got another section of the book I want to share with you today. Today it's about a spider, actually two spiders, maybe even three spiders. So if you're not into creepy crawly things, don't listen. Stop the video. Some of you may be familiar with the story or part of it because I contributed this to one of the 365 books by Jody Chapman and Dan Tech. And this just puts it in context with the rest of the story with Otosan. So I'll jump right in. Akira's brother came and took over at the beginning of July so I could go back to Tokyo for a few days. I don't remember anything about the train ride to Tokyo. I do remember my train ride back to Hiroshima a week later. Though I had enjoyed the break and seeing Akira, I was looking forward to another 3 weeks on my own with Otosan in Hiroshima. The weather was perfect, and I saw dozens of white egrets in the rice fields along the way. By the time the one-car train arrived at Bingo Ochiai Station at 7 p.m., I was the only person left, and as usual, the station was deserted. Otosan was waiting in his car parked just outside the entrance. Akira's brother had left Hiroshima earlier in the day, so it was just me and Otosan again. Back at the house, I took my bags upstairs and then went down immediately to make dinner. Otosan proudly showed me the grilled fish he had saved to go with our meal. He knew I was coming in late and would be too tired to cook. He had even put on a pot of rice. I've never seen him set foot in the kitchen and was touched. I made some miso soup and we were sitting down to eat within a few minutes. It felt good to be back. When I went back upstairs after dinner, there was a dead spider on the floor just inside my room and a huge spider on the wall right above it. I like spiders, but I wasn't too happy about sleeping in the same room with one as big as this one, so I carefully trapped her in a box and planned to take her outside in the morning. I didn't want to take her down before that because I was afraid Otosan would see the box, ask questions, and insist on killing her. I don't kill spiders. I usually name them. Up until the year before, I had been running a little 2-room English conversation school for kids. We often had 1 or 2 little brown jumping spiders show up on the wall during class. With a limited amount of time and space, I couldn't afford to let the kids freak out. Instead, I would say, "Hi, George. Come on, kids, say hi to George." And we'd all wave at the spider on the wall. I never had to stop the class, and before long, the kids started spotting and saying hi to George on their own. Having spared so many little spiders over the 10+ years of running the school, there was no way I was going to kill this big spider. I even felt uncomfortable about having trapped her in the box. It seemed cruel and selfish, but she was huge. I didn't want her to be moving freely around my room, and I also did not want to listen to her scuffling around in the box all night. Finally, I opened the window and let her out on the roof below. I fell asleep that night thinking about the spider. I felt bad that I had relocated her. What if she preferred being indoors? I wondered how she had gotten in my room, whether she had killed the other spider, and if so, why? Was it territorial? What was she doing now that she was outside? In the morning, I looked out the window where I had released her, but didn't see any sign of her. During the day, I forgot about the spider. The day passed quickly, and before I knew it, dinner was finished, the dishes were done, and Otosan was already asleep. I locked the front door and headed up to my room. It was stuffy upstairs. Back in the city, I would have switched on the air conditioning. Here, in the Hiba Mountains, opening a window was enough. I loved falling asleep with the cool breeze and earthy smells. I knew that by 3 a.m. it would be cool enough that I would need a blanket. As I pushed the curtains aside to open the window, I was startled by a large spider, the size of my fist, right there in the middle of the window. After recovering from my initial surprise, I realized, thankfully, that the spider was outside, and I was thrilled. I assumed it was the same spider I had relocated the night before. I was pleased that she had survived the forced relocation. Inching closer, I realized that Spider was building a huge web outside, spanning the full width of the window frame. I watched for several minutes and then decided to open the other window so as not to disturb her web making. In the morning, Spider was gone. I wondered about her all day and after dark raced upstairs to check. To my delight, she was there again, tending her web. 3 nights in a row, I marveled at how she returned and systematically restored her web through a series of small repairs. It was mesmerizing. I took videos and pictures and even got to watch her eat. Fascinated, I emailed several photos to one of my biology-loving friends who did some research and discovered that, in fact, I had encountered 2 different spiders. She identified the first one, the one I had relocated, as a giant huntsman spider, or Ashidakagumo in Japanese. Since the giant huntsman isn't an orb weaver, we knew that the spider outside my window must be different. After scouring the internet and comparing photos, I found that the orb weaver in my window was a Yamashiro onigumo in Japanese. Yamashiro onigumo are mainly nocturnal and can be found in all parts of Japan, especially in mountainous and forested areas. Although they might be seen near homes, they are rarely found near well-developed areas. This makes sense, as the Japanese name means mountainous white devil spider. The more I learned, the more I looked forward to seeing spider in my window. Unfortunately, the 4th night, the news reported that a typhoon was headed our direction. Like everyone in the area, we closed all the windows and even the metal shutters. I worried about spider. The window frame had once seemed ideal, but by pulling the shutters out over the window, her web was destroyed. I sent her a warning and prayed that she was listening. The rain poured and the wind howled. The next morning was beautiful. We opened the shutters and windows throughout the house. The air was crisp and smelled clean. I wondered what happened to Spider. Assuming she was gone for good, I appreciated how she had shared her work with me and sent a quick prayer wishing her well into the next life. That afternoon, Akira arrived. He got a break from work and was going to spend a few days with me. It was good to see him, and I was relieved that the typhoon had not delayed his trip. I excitedly shared my news of the encounter with the spider. We had been talking every day, so he was already up to date on Okasan's condition and what I had been doing with Otosan. He patiently listened. The encounter with Spider had felt so special to me, and I struggled to explain to him why I felt honored, as if Spider had granted me with a sacred viewing into her world. Later that evening, I was outside on the porch. I happened to look up and spot Spider again near the window, building a new web, this time under the eaves. I whooped, laughed, cried, and thanked Spider. I hollered at Akira to come and look. I don't think he believed it was the same Spider. I knew it was. Seeing her at work again made my heart swell. As I looked up at her, I could swear I heard her say, "It's important to spend time every day rebuilding your web, and equally important to be mindful of where you build it." I wasn't sure what exactly had happened, but I knew this spider and her message were important. As a kid, my mom taught me that it wasn't necessary to kill other beings, and that spiders had just as much a right to be there on Earth as I did. She taught me how to capture spiders in a glass and carefully transport them outside. And, like so many other kids who grew up in the 70s, I remember reading Charlotte's Web by E.B. White and dreaming of having my own spider friend. Don't get me wrong. Though I wasn't afraid of spiders, I didn't necessarily love them either. Until meeting that orb weaver that summer, it had never occurred to me that Spider might be more than just another being I should tolerate. Okay, that's the end for today. And I actually have the video of that spider and that was building its web outside my window. It's not a very good quality video, but I will put it up on the website and maybe up here on YouTube so you can see. It's kind of fun to me. If you don't like spiders, then tune out, don't watch it. I'll try to warn you ahead of time. Anyway, thanks for listening in, and I will be back with another section from that summer. Eventually we'll get to Tokyo. Thanks for being so patient and hanging in there with me as I share this journey. Bye for now.